Good evening, everybody. I'm Chuck with Chicago Area Roof Talk. Tonight, we're going to restream episode we just had Tuesday with Chris Demro from Carlisle. Got any questions? Any comments? Put them in the comment section and we'll answer or respond about them. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Chuck with Chicago Area Roof Talk. And our guest with us here is Joe P., my co-host. He's popping up here with us. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Joe.
Hello, everybody. I run the commercial and industrial division here at Peterson Roofing, Inc. in Mount Prospect, Illinois. And that's pretty much it. Chuck's been my partner since I've been about 12 years old. So here we are. That's it.
Okay, Chris, a little bit.
So I'm the managing partner of Advanced Building Products Chicago. We're the Carlisle reps here, Carlisle Syntec specifically. I've been in the single ply roofing game for about 15 years now. Started my career with Syntec directly as a field inspector and kind of worked my way up through the different ranks, and been back in Chicagoland here since 2022. And happy to be part of our Chicago Area Roof Talk. This is pretty cool.
Definitely.
Yeah, we really appreciate having you here.
Yeah, Chris, I know you've been in the the roofing industry for quite a long time.
For a little while now.
Yeah,
a while. The gray's starting to come.
Yeah, I miss the good old days when you were up on the roofs inspecting it with us.
Man.
You know,
sometimes I miss those days myself.
That's
A
right.
day like today, right? Beautiful day out. So
Beautiful day.
appreciate you guys having me on here to talk a little shop.
You got it, Chris. Go ahead, Chuck.
Okay, we're going to start the short little video, and then we're going to pause it in between sections to go to the next section. So we'll start out with that first one, and then we will talk about it a little bit.
Cool. Pretty good place to pause there. Yeah, so that's just showing Carlisle's Rapid Lock Fleece Back EPDM, which is a hook and loop attachment system, and yes, it's made by Velcro, so it really allows you to install that sheet quickly. No temperature restrictions, no adhesives at all involved with it, and as you guys can see in that clip, it's really quick. I mean, just over 6 minutes on that single sheet install. You're not waiting on flash off times, that kind of stuff. And what we actually see is tremendous uplift performance out of that product itself. And really, as fast as you guys can lay it down, there's no hanging around and waiting. And it's pretty simple to do.
Quick question, Chris, about that system. I know it's like the fleece back sticks to the insulations like the Velcro material.
That's exactly what it
You
is.
just peel it and it sticks. Now let me ask you this: let's say you got, a 10 by 100, and you're going to peel it, and say a big wind comes, grabs the sheet and sticks it down in the wrong spot where it's not wanted to. Then what happens?
Yeah. So if you haven't walked on it, hit it with a roller or broomed it, you may be able to move it a little bit. You might be able to pick it up and adjust it a little bit. Once you get any weight on it to speak of, it's going to be stuck, man.
Right.
It does come with a release liner from the factory. So a lot of guys are familiar with like a peel and stick pressure sensitive sheet, an adhesive backed sheet. Same basic concept. So it'll have a 2-part release liner on it. You can kind of see in that video the guys pulling the release liner out. So
yeah, I really like that, man.
Pretty cool. It's pretty slick. And as long as you get it put where you want before you pull the release liner, you can really just kind of position however you want to. But once you pull that release liner and hit it with a broom or a roller, it's really not going anywhere. So you just got to be a little bit careful during those situations. But the nice thing, in my opinion, makes it a little bit better than the SA is that it's not going to stick to itself, right? So if it folds, or if it folds back or something funny happens, it's just fleece backed membrane. So you're not going to lose that corner or ruin that corner. But like you say, Joe, once it's down, man.
Yeah, it's down.
Yep.
You got to be a professional to. So it sounds like that product will be great for a customer that's looking for, very, very good long-term roof.
Yep.
And I also see where that could save on, like you said, it might be a little more costly material, but it might save on labor time where
it's so fast. If you've got something that's open, like relatively open, as fast as you can roll out sheets and as fast as you can roll a weighted roller, that's how fast you can put it down.
Something we need to look into, Chuck.
There you go.
Yeah, it sounds that way.
Definitely.
Pretty cool stuff.
And I know I'm pretty sure you guys are the only one that has that kind of product on the market.
We're the only ones that have it on the marketplace right now. So on like a public job, we're running into a little bit of obstacles, right? We can't really get it spec'd when there's no other alternatives to it.
Right.
But where we see it be really effective, private negotiated projects, hospitals or any other occupied buildings, schools oftentimes.
Oh, I could definitely see hospitals and stuff. There's no adhesive.
Yeah, so there's no VOCs, no smell, no nothing. And then the other side of things is that, like, as you guys all know, as we work into the winter, all those fully adhered projects, people look for ways to keep them rolling once the temperature drops low enough that you can't use adhesives anymore. You're oftentimes switching it to a mechanically attached, a ballasted, or a rhino bond. This, you've got basically the same appearance as far as an attachment method. Still that nice fully adhered, that nice tight look. But you've got no temperature restrictions because you're not using it.
That's funny you say that, Chris.
Yeah, that's
me
a
and
good
Chuck were
point.
just talking about a job that we got coming up in about a month or two.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gyp deck, full tear off, R30 set in low rise, and then fully adhered membrane. But now we're going to have to think about switching the system to something else. We're probably going to think about hot mopping the ISO.
Yeah.
And then fully adhering the membrane.
Yep.
But this is a perfect situation where I could call this owner and say, look, I got this product. What do you think?
Yeah, you could hot mop all those layers of insulation and then just use the rapid lock insulation board on top and then rock and roll.
Yeah.
You can
Excellent,
you can mount the rapid lock board on top.
Yeah, you could. So we make that board in like a 1/2 inch HD, 2-inch flat, 2.5-inch flat. So you got some options as far as what you want your top layer to be and how you can build your assembly.
Very
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I like it.
pretty cool stuff, man. It's I think it's like it's the coolest, definitely the sexiest thing we've got going right now.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
It's
I think I have
cool.
one sample of it in my office somewhere.
Yeah, it's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I know we've been to. I think you had a seminar on it a while back.
We've done a couple here in Chicagoland, and then obviously Carlisle's a monster. They're doing trainings all over the place.
Yeah.
Not
Actually, Chris, about 5 years ago, Carlisle flew us out to the state-of-the-art facility, and we got to see it hands-on in their new state-of-the-art facility.
Yeah, they do it right, man. They do it right out there. There's no doubt.
They sure do.
And I was lucky enough to be a local for a few years out there, so
Yeah.
I saw plenty of it.
And every time I drive to my in-laws' house in Philadelphia, I'm always driving right past the plant.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Like, oh, there it is.
It's amazing out there how every roof, literally 95% of roofs over there and near the Carlisle plant is EPDM.
Yeah, a lot of them, man. There's for sure a lot. I'm sure Carlisle would always like a couple more, but
you got that right.
You know how it goes.
That's right. What else we got, Chuck?
All right, we ready to move on to the next segment here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's compare the times of Sherwell TPO with Seam Shield to the current standard cleaning method. Revolutionize your roofing experience with Sherwell TPO featuring Seam Shield Protective Film. Upgrade to Sherwell TPO with Seam Shield today, eliminating the need for cleaning seams and guaranteeing a factory clean seam with every weld. Contact your local manufacturer, representative, or distributor for more details.
Yeah, it's probably the newest, coolest thing that we've got out on the streets right now. I really like the product. I think it makes a lot of sense. So basically what it is, if you guys are familiar with the appeal film that we have available on our TPO line, basically you finish the job, you peel it off, you got a perfectly nice, white, clean, reflective roof, right? This is the same concept. It's got that release film, but it puts it on the TPO seams. So you have it on the top side of the one seam and the bottom side of the other sheet, right? So when you overlap them and peel that release liner off, you don't have to come back and hit it with weather membrane cleaner. It's already clean.
Wow. So you're saying once that sheet's laid, you could just get your robot lined up and go.
You could just weld it, right? So
wow.
I mean, you guys know things get re-roofs, tear-offs,
things
get trashed, right?
Right.
Yeah. Not to mention that dude, that apprentice that just kicked over the bucket of primer or glue.
Right.
So this is like probably one of the lowest cost items that we have on the front end, and I think it's very powerful, right? And I don't know the answer to this. Think about how much you guys have to pay a guy to clean seams. It's not nothing, right?
No. And that seam cleaners.
Do they have that on the Rapid Lock as well?
They don't yet. Right now, it's just on our 12-foot and below TPO. It's available on. But I think that after this takes off, after we can kind of get the demand rolling for it, I anticipate them putting it on pretty much everything.
Yeah.
But
I can see
right
that
now,
I can see all the other manufacturers jumping on as well.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool idea. It's a pretty cool idea. It's kind of like it kind of reminds me of back in the 80s and 90s when they were going from field applied tape to they're starting to make factory applied tape. And now we have almost all of our EPDM rolls that go out have factory applied tape on it, right? And I think that down the road on the TPO side, it's going to be the same with this seam shield. I think they'll try to figure it out on the PVC stuff as well.
Well, that's a game changer right there. I'll tell you that.
Could be, man.
I think well, like for myself at Peterson Roofing, and Chuck will attest to this. I mean, a lot of our jobs are either like re-roofs, either like with 2-inch and fully adhered or rhino bond or mechanically attached or so on and so forth. But a lot of our jobs are dirty, cut up.
It's Chicago, man.
Like
everything's dirty. There's trucks going everywhere, diesel in the air, dust everywhere.
Right. But I could see these rolls being tremendous where you got a nasty tear off, but then you can just pull the film, weld it, and I could just see it being great.
For sure.
I agree with that.
That's all. I really do.
All right, so we go to the next section here.
Do it to it.
The roof, it's about 55,000 square feet, new construction, steel deck, and we installed 2 layers of 2.6-inch insulation to meet the energy code requirement of R30. And then we installed that via Rhino Bond with the 16-foot wide Carlisle 60 mil TPO. Simply more coverage per roll and less seams. The fastening pattern is not impacted by the wider rolls. However, in this particular job, the owner wanted a 90-mile-an-hour wind rider, wind warranty, so we did increase the amount of fasteners. I would just say that our guys enjoyed using them because it was just less welding. And, sometimes in the summer, if you're roofing and there's chances of rain, we put out a little bit and then try to cover it up. And the 16-foot sheets certainly made that, more doable. Going from a 12-foot sheet, which is what we typically use, to a 16-foot sheet, that's what a 33% less seams to weld. And that's very significant. And like I alluded to earlier, you're getting close to 1,600 square feet of coverage per roll, which when you have a big wide open area, that can lead to some real production efficiencies. Most of the warehouses were EPDM up until, 15 or 20 years ago, and now it's, in my view, completely turned to TPO.
16 footers.
16 footers, baby. Biggest TPO sheet in the world, to my knowledge.
I think it is.
I think it is. So,
Oh,
yeah,
Yes,
pretty
I've heard of
cool product. Unique application, right? Obviously, if it's a small chopped up building, this isn't the right sheet. But if you've got a ton of square footage, you got a little bit of room to work, man, you can really cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time.
Let me ask you this, Chris. Now, Can a 16-footer only be rhino bond or fully adhered, or can it be mechanically attached as well?
That's a good question, and I asked the same question. But right now, only rhino bond and adhered. Maybe down the road, they might figure out, I mean, because theoretically, right, you could put a rust strip down the middle and do a kind of 8-foot sheet situation. You could split it in half. But they don't have any testing on that right now, and they haven't gone down that path.
Right.
So for right now, only rhino bond and adhered. But I do think that long term, they'll probably look at that, see if it makes sense to do mechanically attached with a rust strip down the middle or something similar. But as of right now, just the rhino bond and adhered. You're right.
Yeah, that was a nice video too. They laid two layers of 2.6 staggered.
Yep.
Beautiful video. Beautiful job.
We had a ton of positive feedback from guys in the field with these, and a lot of people think, or their first concern, right, is the weight and the size of it. It's a big roll, but when you think about it, any contractor that's familiar at all with EPDM up here in the north, which is more common, right? We make a 16.5-foot no fold EPDM roll that's about the same weight, and guys have been using that. That's one of our best selling rolls. Not to mention our 20 and 30 by 100 sizes rolls. So EPDM contractors contractors with some EPDM experience seem not to be as scared of that roll size, and find that they can use a lot of the same techniques to manipulate them. So that's been kind of really our only bit of pushback. It's like, man, it seems like a big roll, and it is, but
Yeah, but if you're already
Yep.
if you're already working with, like you said, 20 buys and 50 buys of EPDM, you should already have the equipment to roll all that out.
Exactly. And it's often just a little bit of education and making sure that, like you say, they have the right type of equipment on hand.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's a lot of sense to me. Now, Chris, I know what I've been finding a lot on roofs, especially when I go on like inspection of a new construction job. Let's say a building was built 3-4 years ago, right? And someone just took over the building. It got sold. They don't even have a warranty on it. They have no idea. And I'll go there. It's a mechanically attached roof. There's no picture framing. There's no 5-foot sheets. There's none of that. So I'm guessing it's probably a 1-year, warranty, so on and so forth. Do you find that to be like a thing in new construction where if it's not offering a 20-year NDL, because I know a lot of these GCs are just offering just 1 year, for the roof.
Mm-hmm.
I think these guys are just smacking these roofs on, and next thing you know, that's why people like us and other good contractors up in the north got a very good repair log. Is because people aren't putting these systems on properly.
Yeah, I mean, most of what we deal with and see on a day-to-day is NDL warranties, right? And companies like Peterson that have been doing this a long time and know exactly what they're doing, right? And we've got a pretty solid core group of guys here in Chicago. That's not to say that we don't occasionally see some goofy stuff, and it's out there, man. There's
it's everywhere.
It is, and we're in a constant in this business. It seems like a constant pressured race to the bottom. So if you have a building owner or developer or someone with maybe less actual roofing knowledge, I mean, you can see some weird stuff out there sometimes. Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely. Chuck, you got anything?
We ready to move on? No, I think you pretty well covered it. So we
Cool.
can move on to the next section.
The big benefit I can see to Seam Shield technology is it saves the guys some time if it is a dirty job site or a re-roof or muddy or something like that. So, like I said, the guys aren't down on their hands and knees having to manually clean it with rags and cleaner and stuff. So there's definitely a benefit to being able to just leave that like it is, not have to worry about the dirt and the mess and and the guys just to be able to pull that plastic off, that release paper off as they're going, and know that they've got a good clean lap to weld. For us, it's more, being better for the guys to use. They do like it more. They don't have to get on their hands and knees as much. There's not quite as much physical labor with that part of it. So if I was talking to another contractor about the Seam Shield technology, I definitely would say go for it and use it. I just think with the wear and tear on the guys and making sure that those seams and laps are 100% clean every time before you got to weld the two sheets of membrane together, and you don't have to worry about that later on and wonder down the road, did we get that lap clean enough before we welded it together to know it was sealed and good like it needed to be.
Yeah, I probably sent those to you out of order or something. That one should have been back.
Oh, good.
That's all right. All right. Yeah. So again, it's just echoing the field. I think they made some good points. And I like a couple of those visuals that they have where you're looking at it from like the roof deck side, and you can just see
Under the glass.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, I think. And
Really cool.
he made a couple.
Hey, Chris, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
That new we just showed, that new seam, that tape clean
Yeah,
seam.
seam field.
Does that come on all your rolls, your 10s, your 12s, your 16s?
You can get it right now. Right now, you can get it on 12 and below, mostly 12s and 10s. Our goal is, I'm assuming, as soon as we build in enough demand for the product, because it's brand new. It's a brand new product this year. So once we've got enough demand for it, I anticipate them having it available on all the thermoplastics.
Right.
PVC is a little more difficult to. Nothing really sticks to it the same way that you can, use kind of an adhesive to TPO. So PVC is typically a little more difficult to figure out initially. Like you see it even with the appeal. It took us a little bit of time to figure out how to do appeal with PVC. We just use heat and pressure as opposed to an adhesive backing like what you see on TPO. But I think that we'll have it eventually down the road on all of our thermoplastics. Right now, just 10 and 12 foot TPO.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And I could see all your competitors trying to jump on it because,
Sure.
I'll be honest with you, Chris. I mean, I think Carlisle is probably the best TPO in the market, if not, my top one or two. There's been so many studies out there. Some others saying, Firestone. Some say Carlisle. Some say GAF. Some say Mansville. I mean, so I really don't know what studies to trust or what not to trust. All I know is pretty much TPO's TPO, and Carlisle's sheet my guys like to work with better than anything else. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, and again, like I can only speak to the Carlisle stuff that I know, and I know they put a ton of R&D into all their products, and I know they're trying to put the best product to the marketplace that they possibly can. And the other thing that I've always really appreciated about doing business with them is that they're always innovating, right? They're always pushing to see what the next thing is, right? What's the next step? And 1 year it was Velcro. Now we've got Seam Shield. We've got all these different tools that on their own, one by their own might not be the most earth-shattering thing in the world. But when you start to stack 2 or 3 of them into one, assembly, it starts to be really powerful.
Right.
And, it allows our customers to skin the cat a little bit different way, so to speak, right?
Right. Chris, let me ask you this real quick.
Yeah.
Have you guys gotten into wind vented systems?
We do get into wind vented systems. We've got a couple different options. Carlisle actually purchased E2T from, I believe they're for Virginia Tech, right? They brought those guys in-house over the last couple of years, where that was a third-party kind of service that they were offering us. They're now part of the Carlisle family, and we could pretty much offer. Yeah, yep, pretty much offer
because we do. I mean, we do a lot of wind vented systems too, using your membrane.
Yep.
But we get the 20-year material warranty from Carlisle, and then WindSmart is the manufacturer, and they actually give the 20-year NDL.
Yep.
We've been doing actually the roof right behind you is one of those.
Oh, no kidding.
Behind Chuck, excuse me.
Yeah. I knew what you meant. Yes, so we definitely do them, and they are not always the easiest, but sometimes they're the only solution for a particular building, right? So you've got a deck that you can't penetrate. You've got a ton of conduit. You've got, there's a few other scenarios where, hey, this is like the only way to do this thing.
Right.
And if there's contractors out here watching this, trying to get it, wanting to get involved in it, I would say do so cautiously, because it can be complicated, and you have to have attention to detail. You have to have that deck sealed. It's paramount, right? Otherwise, that roof's going to be in the parking lot. It can be a really good roof, and it's crazy to watch it. If you go up on one, you watch it during a higher wind, you're like, wow, it really does.
It's unbelievable.
You can see it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you do have to have a lot of attention to detail, your penetrations, at your curves, at your deck to walls, all those places where air infiltration can occur into the system.
Yep.
There is a little bit more to it. So
I agree with you, Chris, because we learned the hard way. I'll tell you that right now.
Sure.
We had we had put 2 roofs on Carlson Laboratories in Arlington Heights, and they would have had to pay about $1.5 million in interior protection for the building. So we came out with a Carlisle, WindSmart system, but this was 10 years ago, whatever.
Sure.
With WindSmart, but we laid the first day we laid like, I don't know, maybe 250 squares, give or take. Let's just say I got a call that Sunday.
Yeah.
The whole roof blew off because we didn't put in our vents properly.
Yep.
We didn't put it in our vents. We just thought, oh, let's throw some weight on it and it'll hold it.
Yep. Wrong.
Didn't do it.
Well, you learned, right? And then I bet you guys went back, and the next one you did, you're very careful.
Yep.
Only takes one.
Yeah, like for instance, the one behind me there got hit by a tornado and stayed in place.
Yep. That's the only one on that block in Joliet that stayed in place.
I bet.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, Chris, like if you don't know wind vented systems, and here's the thing too, you could put on a perfectly wind vented system and they don't tell you that they got an HVAC contractor come in to cut in a new curb. Right. Oh man.
Big problems.
Yeah.
So we always make sure if we bid that, but we try to stay away from it only if it's, like a very feasible option for the customer.
Sometimes that's the only way to do it.
Right.
So
that is true. That is true. Is that all? Do we got more clips, or is that all?
I think that was all the clips, wasn't it, Chuck?
No, there's more. There's one more.
Some good clips.
Hey, man. Thanks. Thank Big Mama Carlisle.
Do a great job, Chris.
Hey, they do a nice job.
You've always done a great job for what you do, man.
I appreciate that.
The existing assembly is 34 years old, and as we know, a typical ballasted system that's beyond its life expectancy, so he was ready. Installed a polyiso insulation board. We mechanically fastened that into the structural concrete with a CD10 fastener, and then fully adhered the 60 mil TPO to that insulation. We were really impressed with the speed and the ease of the application of the cab grip versus a traditional bonding adhesive. We did some time trials and showed that it takes a lot more labor for us to manually roll out the bonding adhesive versus the cab grip, which we're hoping that will improve our bottom line.
Only but a goodie. Yeah, that's a cab grip product, man. It's been a staple of our assembly better part of a decade. And it's an older video, and they just show the smaller 40-pound cylinders. We now have the 85-pound cylinders as well. But man, probably an 80% reorder rate from our guys. Once people try it, they like it, and they tend to roll with it. And if you think about it, like the guy in the video mentioned, the spray adhesive, obviously it's less labor than rolling out a bunch of adhesive. It flashes off so much more consistently than traditional old school bonding throughout the temperature range. But to me, the aspects that they get overlooked is that one of those small cylinders replaces 3 cans of bonding adhesive. One of the big cylinders replaces 6 cans of bonding adhesive. Just from a loading and disposal standpoint, if everything else was the same, which I think we can all agree that spraying is quicker than rolling, and if you've used the Cav Grip at all, you know that it tacks up pretty consistently in that 5 to 7 minute range, no matter what temperature it is outside, if the material's hot. But even if you throw all that out the window and you just look at how many pallets you're loading onto a job site and how many pails and how much dumpster space you have to offload and pay for, it's huge, man. Even just
100%. 100%. Ever since you guys have came out with that, and Chuck will attest to this, Chuck, I don't think we've used a can of bonding adhesive in the last 8-10 years.
Yeah, just small repair jobs, basically.
Yeah, stuff
Sure.
like that. But any of our jobs,
That's
man,
very
we're
here and
spraying,
there.
Chris. That Cav Grip, man, that's some special
every
stuff.
one
I'll
of
tell you that.
It does a nice job, and
Yep, sure is. It's been a great addition.
Yep. I like how it's. What's that, Chuck?
I didn't say anything. I just moved.
Sorry. My phone keeps cutting out every time I get a phone call.
that's a problem. Good problems.
I'm like, I wanted to answer a couple of them, Chris. Sell a couple Carlisle roofs. You know what I mean?
I hear you.
Okay, I think we got one more section left on this tape, and that's about
should
your
be one
primer.
more.
Oh, yeah.
You got to find it. Let's see. Bring it up.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, same kind of idea with that Cav, right?
An additional benefit to using Cav Prime is that it will not gel, and it's impossible for it to spill.
Yeah, you caught the end of the video there.
So, Chris, is that coming? I saw it was, attached to the roller. So, what does that come in? Like a backpack or?
Yeah, it's a small kit, so it's a smaller, propane style cylinder, kind of like the Cav Grip, but much more manageable. I want to say it's a 10 or 15 pound. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's got a small backpack. It's got a hose. The wand is a little bit longer, so it's extended wand, and it's got a clip on it for a little roller. So you could go screw in a standard roller to the base of this wand, and the wand being a little bit longer allows you to stand up while you're applying. So couple those things with the fact that it'll never gel and you can't kick it over and waste it.
That's huge. How many times?
Product.
How many guys kick over a can of primer on a job?
You know,
and there goes
way more than anyone would ever believe.
It's unbelievable. Yep.
Yep.
Same thing with the bonding.
Or admit.
Same thing with the bonding, and that's where the cans with the spray Cav Grip comes in way better.
Yep.
Yeah.
How many times, Chuck, we're knocking over buckets of bonding back in the years? We're like, there goes a few $100 down the drain.
Yeah, and it's usually right in the middle of a roll of EPDM that's already glued down, and you got to cut it off.
Yeah, but you got to try to clean it or get rid of it too.
Got
to
manipulate it somehow.
So, yeah, I think you're going to continue to see Carlisle push for self-contained type of dispensing on a variety of different products. I think it's pretty cool what they've done with the Cav Grip. I really like the Cav Prime as well. What's next, right? We'll see what they come out with next. But I would tell you it's probably going to be labor saving, and it's probably going to be a self-contained technology.
Hey, Chris, I'm having a brain fart real quick. The temperature restrictions for Cav Grip for say I'm going to put a fully adhered TPO down. Say it's December and it's 25 to 30 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so we published 25 degrees and rising. The caveat being it needs to be stored at 70 degrees. So what we found is that, those heating blankets are really great. And if you've got material that's already warm or hot, it'll keep it warm or hot, but it's really, really slow to warm cold material. So if you have material that was, 40 degrees or 50 degrees and it was sitting on concrete or something like that, just throwing a heating blanket up, they warm about 1 degree per hour. So you'd be there for a month trying to get that sucker warm.
Right.
So the real key is to make sure that for 24 to, I would say 48, if it's possible or more, hours before installation, they're in a 70 degrees plus climate controlled scenario, and they're taken from that 70 degrees climate controlled situation, put immediately in a blanket or a hot box, and installed while they're still hot.
Right.
I think that 80 degree range is pretty sweet for Cav.
Right.
It comes out really nice. It sets up really nice and even.
What we try to do is work with the building owner and say, look,
exactly.
Can we store it in your building and just bring it up per day? And a lot of them have absolutely no problem with it.
Sure. I've seen guys do massive hot boxes as well, or rotating hot boxes on wheels, a whole bunch of different approaches to try to keep that stuff warm. But however you do it, the warmer, the better for Cav Grip. I would say Cav Prime, and as well as like the flexible, fast, low-rise foam dual tanks, the self-contained dual tanks of low-rise foam. Those two, they really like the heat. So however you got to do it, keep those babies warm.
Yeah. Good to know.
I will say public service announcement. Don't use the small band heaters that can go up to like 900 degrees. Don't do that.
Gotcha.
That can make them pop if you do it too intensely in one spot. So just don't want anybody out there getting hurt.
Yeah.
Trying to keep it adhesive warm, right?
We don't do none of that anyways, Chuck.
Oh, of course not.
But what else? This has been great. This has been very informative, Chris.
Hey, appreciate you guys having me on. This is awesome.
It's been fantastic, man. I mean, you've been.
It's my first podcast, so
yeah,
it's awesome,
welcome, man. Welcome. We're gonna. I'm sure we're gonna have
You're
you
always
on again
welcome
because,
to drop in.
I appreciate that. I'll keep you guys on my radar, and you just have to let me know when you're airing it out. Like I said, pretty cool what you guys are doing here. I think that Chicago's an old school roofing city. I mean, here's a fun fact for you guys and anybody else watching, but the first Carlisle single ply roof ever was installed here in Chicago.
Really?
On O'Hare. Yep. First EPDM single ply roof that was ever
no
done.
kidding.
Yep.
So I would have never guessed that.
Yeah. Here's even one more for you. McMillan's old man's the one that company put it down.
Wow.
Yeah.
No kidding.
No kidding. So long history Carlisle here in Chicago, and I think it's pretty neat.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I do say this, Chris. I do miss walking the roofs and probing seams with you and doing all that, man.
Hey, I miss being outside. I miss kicking it with guys like you. I do not miss probing, and not a moment in my life.
I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you at all.
Cool.
Chris, I gotta go. I gotta go into a meeting in about 8 minutes. So I'll probably leave the show and let you guys finish the show up.
Awesome to catch up. Catch you soon.
Yep, that's fine. You get at it, buddy.
All right, Chris. Thanks again, and everyone. Carlisle Roofing Products, best in the market.
Oh, you heard it here first.
Talk to you guys later.
See you, dude.
Talk to you, Joe.
Bye.
All right, Chris. You want to look into these other pictures we have? See if there's anything you got to add to them,
whatever you want,
and see if we have any people. We haven't really seen any comments or anything yet from any viewers, but any of you out there would like to ask Chris or me any questions, send us a comment, and we will put it on screen and answer it for you. So we'll look at a few pictures and see where we're at next. So let me see what we got here.
Yeah, that's a great example of a passing test weld. You can see how all of that membrane on the top side there is pull off the fleece, as opposed to splitting between the two layers of membrane. That's a full pull, we call it in back in the day. But that just means that the weld itself is stronger than the bond of the material to itself. Like the sheet itself, the weld is stronger than the sheet itself. So that's a good sign. It's what we're looking for.
All right, very good. Okay, I got another picture here is processing.
Look, they got their looks like probably 12-inch on center beads there. I would say it's either can't tell exactly which manufacturer it is, but I can tell you that it's not Carlisle. You can see the continuous serpentine, even beads. They've got full coverage out to the end of the boards. Insulation boards are staggered on the joints. Yeah, solid looking setup. They've got the weighted roller out there, so you know that they're getting weight on it. They got the buckets out there. You know, that's they're off to a good start.
All right, here's another one. Let's see what we got here.
Oh, a couple little cold welds, looks like. So
Yeah.
you needed that seam shield, Chuck.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, and just from my experience at Carlisle, I think the cold welds are by far the most common warranty issue or repair for warranty issue that we would see on an inspection or on an installed roof. It's just so important to clean properly, right? If you don't have a clean surface, you can't.
Right. Yeah.
No matter what you do.
Right. Exactly. All right. We got another picture here.
All your equipment that's on the roof or on the completed roof, you all got it up on ISO, nice and soft ISO. Great to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Welding the T-joint. Yeah, a little couple perimeter sheets, a little picture frame action.
Yeah. Tried to make sure that they weren't marked up with sheets from other manufacturers. You know, for you.
Oh, come on. Takes a little more than that to offend me, Chuck. Come on.
Yeah, well, you know, try to do the best we can do at this.
Got
anything else to add, Chris? Anything else you'd like to
say
to our audience?
Not offhand, just appreciative to be involved. And, you know, like I say, my information's all over the internet. So if anyone's got any Carlisle needs, feel free to hit me up. And if you're really bored, there's a cool video. It's on Carlisle's website. If you typed in Carlisle derecho, I don't know if you guys all remember, in 2020, there was a really nasty windstorm that went from Omaha to Chicago, 120 to 150 mile an hour straight line winds for a couple hours in most places along I-80. But we talked about the rapid lock.
So that's just a few pictures over the years.
Today, and that's another embarrassing video of me right out on the internet. But we had two schools that were in the path of this storm, and one of them happened to be kind of like an experimental project where it had both the Velcro and the standard EPDM adhered side by side in the same building. And, you know, the 140 mile an hour winds, about a 2-hour duration. The traditional adhered system was blown, uplifted rather. And the rapid lock, you couldn't even tell really that there were any issues. So very robust system. And we had that video does a nice job of outlining the path of the storm and talking about some of the roofing systems that were in the path of the storm and where we saw successes and where we saw failures. So worth watching.
Yeah, when you get a chance, maybe send me a link to that, and maybe I'll even add it to the show someplace. And
I'll do it
one of these weeks.
Very cool.
Now you're always welcome. Like I said, Chris, if you ever got any comments or anything, when you can drop in on any show and add comments and stuff if you would like on anything that's going on. And if you see something you think you have something to add, something good to, you can say, hey, I'm here in the audience, drop me a link. Sure. And I can drop you the link and we can instantly bring you right into the show.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you having me on, and, you know, good day to everybody out there watching.
You're spending the time. Yep.
Anytime.
All right, then, Chris, we'll let you go and let you get back to all that important business you got going on, and we look forward to seeing you in the near future.
You'll do it, man. I'll catch you later.
Job.
Thanks again.
Right. Later.
Bye now.
Bye. All right, everybody. That's the end of tonight's show. We will be having another guest and another show on next Thursday at 3 p.m. We're going to try making it a little bit later in the afternoon and see if we can get a little more people responding and joining in. So later this week, or beginning of the week, we will put out a link on who the guest is going to be so you can make plans accordingly. Thank you very much and have a nice evening.